Hi everyone, this is the Real Happy Hour podcast show. My name is Ola, and on this show we'll be talking about the relational dynamics of characters in films. With me on this particular episode is Mr. David Dacosta. Mr. David Dacosta is the personification of the 14-hour businessman. He literally walks everywhere, he lives everywhere, and he works as a travel entrepreneur. He's also a director and an actor. Thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you.
Also on the show is Ngozi Cadmus. She is a mental health therapist and psychotherapist, and she'll be here today to help support our conversation on the relational dynamics and the sort of the journeys the characters go through in this movie that we'll be talking about. And the movie we'll be talking about in particular is Black Panther. So amazing movie. Thank you for coming to the show, Ngozi.
Thank you.
I'm very, very happy to have both of you here. It's not easy. Thank you for taking the time.
You're welcome.
Black Panther. What do we think of Black Panther? Let's start from there.
Ladies first.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm a Marvel and DC fan, so I watch as much as possible all of the Marvel shows, both the series, the sitcoms, and the whole thing. And I'm a bit of a geek, so after I watch a movie, I do go online and watch the reviews by the experts, just because there's details that you miss, and they're thinking about the stage 5 and all the different things, and how who's going to be the ultimate big bad at the end of it, Kang potentially. So I enjoyed it for what it was. I think it was obviously very hard to do, COVID, the passing of Chadwick. So I commend the movie for what it was. It was a totally different script than the one that they had in mind for Chadwick. And I felt like Letitia, I felt like, what's her name?
Viola Davis.
No, I almost said Felicia Richard. What's her name? Angela Bassett.
Angela Bassett was absolutely fantastic, and all of the other supporting, Lupita, they were just absolutely fantastic as well. Given the fact that in real life, a really, really big, important person in the movie industry passed away, who genuinely I think was quite loved.
Yeah.
And just how his grace and his attitude. And just what Black Panther meant it came out in 2016, right? The first one,
yeah.
To the global majority, the black majority all over the world, especially I guess for America, because I've been watching Nollywood for years.
When I was watching this movie, I just thought this was like early 2000s Nollywood movie in good budgets, high budget, good Nollywood.
Well, Black Panther.
Because we have a lot of Nigerian stories of like the prince saving the day, the prince, and his journey as a prince in like a rural area, and it really a lot of like Americans or people outside of Nigeria don't have that experience of seeing that on camera. But I kind of was like, I know I've seen this before, but it's not as amazing as this. So what do you think of the movie, David?
I think what you said is 100% right. I mean, it was very difficult to make the movie, obviously with COVID and the passing of Chadwick. But I'll be honest. I mean, I feel if it was alive, we would have had definitely a better Black Panther. I think everybody knows that. But I think with what they had, the time frame they had, and the issues going on around them, they did the best possible movie they could do, considering all the external situations. I saw Thor, Love and Thunder, and I also saw one Doctor Strange, The Last Doctor Strange, and this Black Panther film is probably better than both of them combined. I think sometimes Marvel can get slack and just put out a slapstick, cheesy film, and Black Panther knew they had a reputation to uphold the first one, and not just put out any, because sometimes Marvel, they know the problem with franchises is that you're going to get your money. If you bring out another Harry Potter, you don't need to promote it. Every Harry Potter fan's going to come from all over the world. You're going to get your money. So if you put out Black Panther 2, 3, 4, 5, you're going to make money. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you're going to make money. So sometimes I feel they get a bit lazy and just put out anything. Black Panther really knew they had to uphold the legacy of the first one, which meant so much to especially us in our community, to Africans in general. So they did the best they could with what they had. It was a good movie.
Yeah, great.
Good. So obviously, great movie, and what we'll be talking about in terms of the relational dynamic is the journey Shuri goes through. We saw her in part 1. She's this really nice, techie young woman, and she's supporting her brother. But then, in the very first movie, they had the loss of their dad. And now in this second one, sorry for the spoilers, she loses her, she loses her brother and her mother. So that's a big loss for a character to go through. So I was interested, Ngozi, if you could just sort of speak a bit about how loss, that trauma of loss, how it affects one, and how Shuri handled that trauma.
Yeah, I totally forgot about the father, didn't they? They lost the father, so she's literally lost all her family.
All her family, yeah.
All her family, you know. And she's very young in the movie, you know. She's maybe, early 20s kind of thing. So it's not easy losing significant family members, you know, really within 3-4 years, or maybe max 5-6 years, given that 5-year jump after the blip. I think that the fact that Chadwick also passed in real life, and that parallel process that you're actually dealing with Letitia, and all of the actors are actually dealing with the loss of a potential friend and mentor and whoever he was to her, and then in the character, I think it was very relatable. I actually they did it really well. Sometimes you get so frustrated with the character. Like sometimes you know that they're going through a journey, but thinking just not get over it, but you want them to just accept your responsibility. Why are you taking long? But I think the way she took on Black Panther was natural. It wasn't like she said, I'm going to become Black Panther immediately. I felt like the coming of age of her kind of didn't seem forced. Yeah. It seemed real, you know. And I think, you know, they had to kind of do the stages of grief quite quickly, I guess, the shock denial when she was creating the thing to save her brother, and her mother comes and she's like, it's past, and she's sitting there thinking like, no. Then the anger, you know, anger at the world, anger at everybody, anger, you know, potentially at herself. Yeah. For feeling that she failed her brother. You know, she's so smart. She's got all of these gifts, but she couldn't help the one person that, you know, that she loved probably the most. And then I guess what the great impact was then, the complicated bit was like with her mother, you know, passed because of the situation with her and Nemo, and that was just complicated because the mother went behind to get her back. Then Nemo create that water. She went to protect the other girl. All of this is the factors. Like she died a hero. The mother died a hero, but then she died, and Letitia didn't get to say the things that maybe she wanted to say. You know, so you have, I guess, a lot of people, I think, would be really resonate with moments where a loved one passes and you have regrets of what you want to say. So I would say that I know we're going to talk about it more, but I think that they really showed the process of grief. And, you know, the process of grief is different. There are universal kind of stages, you know, shock, denial, anger, acceptance, etc. But I'm also interested in a cultural thing, because I think that culturally as Black people, the way we deal with grief and loss can be quite different with other cultures because of the amount of emotions we have to suppress, you know. And in certain cultures, I know definitely in the African culture, you know, sadness is okay for a short period of time. Yeah. You know, you can do your mourning and do that, but after that, things have got to move on, you know. So it's like, does your grief get curtailed or circumvented because society kind of forces you and pushes you to get on with things?
And that kind of happened with Shuri too, because she had to sort of step up and find a way to sort of help Wakanda, because, you know, Neymar was coming with his, you know, people. So she also had to sort of speed up that process, which is probably a Black thing, brown thing. A cultural thing that we just have to sort of...
Life is happening. Life don't stop, right? That's what it was.
You've got bills. You've got bills, especially in our community, things can be tough, so you haven't got time to grieve for 3, 4, 5 months because you'll be homeless.
Yeah, family to look after. A nation to save, in her case.
Exactly. Yeah. So, David, what did you think about
again, I agree. I think the way they showed the different stages of grief, and even her saying she wants to burn the world, and related to the other guy who also wanted to burn the world but his father died.
Yes.
I think they showed the stages of grief very well, and normally in superhero films, because it's a superhero sci-fi, it's, my dad died, I'm going to be the leader. Yeah. Instantly, overnight, you don't even shed one tear, you're ready, you put on the cape, and you're flying around with lasers out your eyes. So it was so good that it was so natural. It was believable, like a real film.
Yeah.
It felt like almost more EastEnders, like, where, you know, you're going through the real grief episode after episode after episode. And I guess that's one of the things that draw the film out to nearly a 3-hour film. If it was one of the cheesy Marvel films, he's dead, here's the suit, okay, I'm going to put on the suit, it fits me, I'm a hero. You know, it's like, that was cheese, you know, but they really dragged it out over a long period of time, which made it more real, more believable, to a point where... even though us, educated fans, we know at some point she's going to become the new Black Panther, but it's almost like, oh, is this really going to happen? Like, we don't know how and when or what's going to... We had no idea, so that was quite good the way they did that.
So, in terms of the loss, because the main theme of today really is the journey of loss and trauma, that trauma of loss. And I wanted to sort of connect the dots with like other Marvel movies, because every Marvel character or DC character, like, when they become this hero, they go through loss. And in terms of like Spider-Man, which is one of my favorite movies, the No Way Home one, just sort of link it with Shuri's journey in Black Panther, how their character, but actually one person I wanted to talk about was Tobey Maguire in the movie, because if you remember Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, in the part 3, the third movie, he was sort of going dark when he got infected by the virus. Well, I can't remember what his name was. Venom. There you go. And I like that idea of a superhero getting dark. Yeah, because they're becoming they're sort of, they're just wearing that trauma, that feeling, and I feel drawn.
It's believable.
It's believable. Yeah.
We want to be good people, but sometimes someone does something to wrong you, and the darkness comes out. Sometimes so when you see superheroes that you look up to, you idolize, going through the same sort of pains, it's like, it's believable. It's like, okay, I can relate. Yeah, I can relate to the anger he or she is feeling.
Yeah. So to tie that in with Spider-Man and Shuri, Black Panther, is, I know when I've heard, please, in Ngozi, maybe you probably have more experience in this, like when you go through a certain type of trauma or any trauma, you either go dark or you find the light. So I think that's where the theory of like narcissism and empathy sort of come into play, where you experience this trauma and you just you grow into this person that's just dark and completely clouded by that experience that you went through. Whereas the other side of that is you become so empathetic that you just want to just care for everyone and you just want to save. And that's where a lot of the superheroes experience, which is also similar to what the villains experience too. They go through a trauma and they're just like, okay, this is too much, we're just going to be dark and what about the world? And so I just wanted to say that if you had any sort of thing to sort of back that up.
I would say that it's probably not as binary as like you go through trauma and it's like black or white or dark or light. I would say that there are there's nuances within that, and I think it depends on a lot of factors. I think if we use Shuri as an example, you mentioned she lost her father because of the outside people killed him. Then the brother was a bit complicated. Technically, he wasn't outside, but he died under suspicious circumstances. Then the mother died with another neighbouring isolated island, but to do with the factors of the outside. So then when she felt like burning the world and she wanted her vengeance on Namor and wanted to do all of that, it made sense, because how much can a person take? How much she's already underestimated by her society because they feel that she's too young. She never wanted to be Black Panther in the first place. She was happy in her lane, and as she's been forced to protect her nation. Her mother passes. So I think that as an audience member as well, and obviously as a therapist, if I put that hat on, human beings are not simple, but very complex, and there's so many different nuances, there's so many brain chemistry, there's so many circumstances around us. So when you have villains that are just evil for no reason, I find that very frustrating as well. That you do want to see a story. So name a story, like he's just, some people he's not a villain. To some people actually he's an anti-hero, same as like Venom and quite a few people. I like anti-heroes because I actually think they're a bit more relatable than just escape. You just want to save the world for the, like, where does that come from? I feel like the journey of that. So I feel like, there is truth in what you're saying, and I think it's a bit more complicated. Like Killmonger was complicated.
Similar to he experienced trauma and he got
left, abandonment,
exactly.
Kind of thing. But you also find that they still find pockets of love. He loved his mother. He loved people. So it's not pure like they're evil and they're good. There's greys in between.
I think back in the days when you had those cheesy or not very good superhero movies, it's this person is bad and they're just bad. All the movie is bad. You don't know why they're bad. They're just bad. Blown up all the buildings. This person's good. They're trying to stop them. That's it. There's no deep characters. I think as normal people, we can relate to the Spider-Man who lost his uncle, to Batman who lost his parents. When we go through traumas, when we go through things, I think it gives you that bit of sympathy for the hero, because when you think about that hero, Batman. You got all this money, you got an amazing cape, you're strong, you can fight, you're cool, you got Lamborghinis. Like, people can just hate it. So, you know, but when you know someone's gone through pain, it's like, you know, it's very sad. We sometimes like to see the negative going on in someone's life rather than all the positive. If I go on my social media, hey, look at me, I just won the lottery, I've got a Lamborghini, I'm rich, I've got models everywhere, I'm living my best life. After a while, people start hating on you. If I say, oh man, I feel so down today, oh David, let me give you a hug. You know, so people like to see someone's pain, which is just the way we're wired sometimes, you know. So when you can see a superhero that's got abilities, they can fly, all of this stuff, you don't just want them to be happy. There needs to be some sad in their life. Otherwise, you're just like, oh, look at Superman again, driving around in his fancy car type of thing. So, yeah, I think when characters have deep layers, why they do what they do, you know, why they really want to save that person, because, you know, why... You know, is it Superman doesn't want to fall in love again because of the pain and, you know, and all those sort of things. I think it really brings out deep layers of characters that we can relate to, because we are deep. We've got so many layers. All the things we've gone through, from being bullied at school to not being able to get a job or this and that, you know. So I think it's good nowadays. We've got deep layers of characters in the Marvel films.
Apart from Shuri, and like any other character in Black Panther, did you feel sort of stood out for you?
Mainly Angela Bassett's character. She lost her husband, she lost her son. You know, I think you know, most people think she did a really good job, especially that like bit where she shouts at the lady when she lost Shuri. You know, and I felt bad because I was like, don't let her go, it's not her fault. But then you felt that, like, you took my daughter, I gave her into your hands and you lost her. Lupita was a bit interesting. I don't know, I kind of felt sad that she wasn't in the movie as much. She came towards the end. That was quite sad. And then I don't know, I didn't really connect with, like, obviously I like the ending about the boy, the child, but I don't think I connected much with her grief or anything. I don't know, I just don't think it displayed enough. This was a bit like, I don't know. I guess the whole point was, because I know Black Panther blipped, isn't it? He did blip, right? So it was after the blip that she went to Haiti. And then he passed, you know, when he came back from the blip. So, I don't know, that was a bit of a down, if I was going to say, the emotional impact as the technically wife or girlfriend of Black Panther.
That should have been maybe more resonant than the sister. I guess the sister's pain is probably strong as family, but, you know, the wife, girlfriend was having his child, so we wanted to see a bit more about that. So you couldn't, when we saw the child, it was cute, but we couldn't maybe connect to her and the child as much. It was just like a little end in the scene. So that's
good. That's a really good observation. I liked M'Baku too. I didn't see. I feel like he had more presence in the first one, but in this second one, we know him more, because I feel like in the first one he's more of a brute.
Bad guy. Like,
more antagonistic.
I thought he was a bad guy.
But this time around he was
more
so
like a mental.
He was the things he said to
Yeah.
Shuri, like, you know, you've gone through so much loss for a young person, you know, like things like that, or like, are you sure this is the action you should take, you know, because you're like a leader now. And for him to say that, like, to look at her like that, like, people are looking at you as a leader now. So I feel like there was a lot of personal growth with him back then.
It did grow. I mean, in the first one, honestly, I thought he was one of the bad guys, you know, but I guess he's just part of the village, but he's the one that, you know, the troublesome one. I'm not going to kill you guys, but I'm going to let you know I'm stronger and bigger than you, and don't mess with me, you know. But I think when you have so much adversity from the outside, now you've got to strengthen up. And it's a good thing, because sometimes in our community, when we have oppression from outside sources, we still internally fight each other, which is, you know, so it was a good thing. Because, again, from my head, I remember him as, he's just on the edge of good guy, bad guy, don't mess with him, because he'll burn the village down. But he was clearly, obviously, on the side of Wakanda. He's a Wakandan, and, you know, even though his ego is dead, I want to be the top, I want to be the man. When they were under threat, he was willing to put down his ego and say, let me support the village, which is rare sometimes in our community, where you've got someone with power, influence, saying, you know, forget my ego, I'm here, what can I do to serve? Which I quite liked in him.
So what about the main villain of the story, Neymar? What do you think about Neymar?
If I'm honest, right, so I know that they changed it because he's meant to be an Atlantean, and they changed it to the Aztec kind of thing. Honestly, I don't know, like, I saw people say, it was amazing, he was great, and I thought it was okay. I didn't see, for me personally, it was good, but I don't know, I felt like it fell flat. I liked what they were trying to portray, I just don't know if it showed it enough. Like the mother, then she wanted to come back to the land, and he came back, and I know he saw the Mexican being enslaved, and maybe that was meant to be a powerful moment where he's like, I'm going to burn the world. But I don't know. I just felt like it was a bit of a reach, personally.
It's that same theme of burning, destroying.
Yeah, I just felt it was a bit of a reach. Do you know what I mean? You've been in the sea for like hundreds of years, and now you want to just kill up the whole people. Then I don't understand. Like, I don't know.
I mean, they found what was it? They found that material.
Vibranium. So they have it too as well. Which I guess someone said that I read somewhere where like it was only meant to be Wakanda, and then now they have it as well. It's just like, oh come on, that it was meant to be for Africans, and then now like so you guys have it. Why are you finding it?
Pekka market, I don't know. I quite liked the backstory. I mean, it seemed okay for me. But yeah, I think his character was okay. Not one of the best villains. I didn't really get the sense of he was so much more superior to everybody else. I guess it was almost on the same level.
Wings flying, the wings.
That wasn't a very tough for me. Like feather wings. Like if I cut those wings off, like it could be all over the place. Like get away.
Did you know of the character before?
Never heard of him. Have you?
No, never heard of him.
Okay.
So I was okay. I was
yes,
like, okay.
But they changed up the backstory because he's basically meant to be Atlanta.
Okay.
Atlantean.
So it's like what's that?
Atlantis
guy.
Aquaman.
Yeah, it's kind of like so they're kind of it's basically similar to that. It's basically name of people are Atlanteans, but they changed it to fit in with the whole Mexican. I guess it's like the whole thing we talked about off camera, the diversity thing. So they're really pushing diversity in that because I guess adding the Mexican backstory. Well, not Mexican, the Aztec people that came from that before the Mayans, I think. But that wasn't the original. That's not in the comic books. No, he did the Atlanteans. So yeah,
there's something I've always thought about that because I'm making a James Bond web series at the moment, and I'm studying all the James Bonds, and I used to wonder why is it that they get James Bond sometimes to co-star with a female from a random country, and from Halle Berry to there was one there's a very popular the Chinese lady in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. And I realised it opens up a whole new market. For example, James Bond just a bunch of traditional white British people, maybe a few Americans. That's your two countries that are going to really love this movie. But when you have a co-star, top Chinese actress, now the whole Chinese countries like I want to go and see James Bond. So with the Mexican, you've got now obviously you've got the black community, you've got the whole Mexican community. So sometimes they do it to I think draw in more revenue because they say
because there's a big audience, the Mexican audience.
Yeah, they're like, oh wow, cultural heritage. We want to go see this movie, and now you've just got. And if you just had another character which represented this an American, you already got the American obviously audience, you've got the African audience, and that's it. But now you can add Mexico, almost triple your money. So
that's a good point.
Yeah, good point. I guess that's one of the reasons why there haven't been a lot of movies centered around black people because there's this deep notion there you go of just not them getting back their money from the investment they put into the making movies. But you can see with Black Panther and that's not true.
If they're smart, they'll know that we are some of the biggest consumers of anything. Anything. So we have money to spend. We have money to spend. Especially on entertainment, things like that. Black Panthers. I don't know how good the second one is doing, but the first one obviously did very well.
Yeah, I think the second one beat some good, did good the opening weekend and stuff. Okay. I think Woman King did good as well.
Great.
And John Boyega did well, and Viola Davis obviously smashed it, and then that South African girl that played, did really well. She was but I guess black people are tired of like the slave movies. We're tired of that. Then sometimes black women, we want a beautiful black lead as well. So even Woman King had, we're not talking about that, but had some. Even Black Panther had a little bit of controversy the first time it came because you had some sectors of black people, black females, that were not happy with the fact that the warriors were very masculine women. Because it's like, again, that notion of black woman masculinity, some black women. We want to see, where's the feminine kind of black woman kind of thing, or why is it the lighter skin black woman is the one that's feminine and the darker skin ones are the ones that are like the warriors and stuff like that. So you're always going to have, I guess, different conversations. And I think it's good. It's important. Every movie should bring that about. It's not meant to be one dimensional. Yeah. You can see it from so many aspects. Like, who would have thought we're talking about Black Panther, and obviously it is obvious about grief, but really talking about grief and a lot of people would go watch a superhero movie but be touched, you know. I had tears in my eyes as well, and I had tears in my eyes with Woman King as well, but I had tears in my eyes because I felt genuinely touched by the movie.
Yeah, I was a bit more emotional with Woman King compared to Black Panther.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, the end bit got me Black Panther. I was like, but it didn't happen. But it was more.
Woman King, Woman King. When that person died, that girl, that was sat there.
That was touching.
So we're going to talk about Woman King in another episode of this show.
Okay.
And Ngozi, I hope you'll be available for that so you can break that down. This is the Real Happy Hour podcast. So every episode there's going to be like a themed cocktail, mocktail to go along with it. And for this particular episode, we're having mulled wine. I decided mulled wine because I wanted something nice, warm and sweet. Because that is how I feel from watching Black Panther. So, yeah.
Good choice, really nice.
Yeah, it's alright.
And so to pick up from where we left off, I would like to I have this theory. I don't know if it's true. It's a theory I have. I have a feeling they always knew Chadwick was going to die.
Oh.
I have a feeling they had that ideal story in mind because it also ties in with the hero going through loss and becoming like the hero. You know, we had that with Spider-Man, we had that with Batman, we had that with even Superman, we had that with other character like can I think of. Even Thor lost his dad, but obviously he was already Thor before that happened. But the loss of his dad also led him to sort of experience new feelings and emotions. So why do I say that? There was an interview after the first movie came out. Sorry, I was disconnected. I wasn't making it. I was thinking. There was an interview where Angela was like, when she got this role, she was excited, but she was also excited but one thing she would always like or have always wanted to play is a queen.
Yeah.
So she wasn't really the queen, was she? She was her husband was the king, but I don't know if she was referred to as like the king. She didn't sit on the throne, and so in this movie, she's sitting on the throne. She's ruling. She's a queen, and she's the elegant woman that we all know and love. And from that interview, and from the fact that there are even some other places where other interviews with Chadwick, like on the red carpet, and they're like, "So what's going on with Black Panther 2?" And he's like, "I'm dead."
I saw that.
So it's like I just feel like
very interesting. Because I think he had cancer, right? So I guess a lot of people would have known he was already sick, but I can't remember if I heard an interview where he kept it secret. So it was a bit of a surprise for a lot of people. But I mean, it could be that the producers knew he was sick, or people, I don't know. But it was, when I saw that, I was like, words are powerful. You have to be careful what you say. I don't know if he's talking movie or if he's talking health. We don't know what he's talking about but I very much doubt they would, after such a huge success of Black Panther 1,
they would bank on Panther 1.
Say, let's kill off the character. Right? There's so many characters you can kill off, and it doesn't make sense. They know he's a fan favourite. People just love him as a human, never mind the character. I can't imagine why the studio would say, we're going to kill off Black Panther. Like, that's not a smart move. So I didn't think he was already told by the producers, you're not going to be Black Panther 2 because we're going to kill you off. I don't believe that was the case. So it's very interesting why he said that.
Any thoughts, Ngozi?
Yeah, no, I think Chadwick Boseman's wife debunks the theory. She did an interview with Whoopi Goldberg, I think, and she kind of made it clear that it was really kept tight within a small circle because they wanted it that way, and he wanted to, I guess, not be seen or judged or have that kind of, you got cancer. His last movie was that American back in the day movie, that singing movie that happened on Netflix.
Rainey, something.
Something like that. I watched it. I think I literally watched it just before he passed, like a couple of days, and then we found out that he passed. So I think it was a big shock. And there's been supposedly leaks, or not leaks, the studio's given out the actual script that would have happened. So there's a big difference between the script that they had and the movie that we saw. So I don't know, but that is an interesting theory, and I'm sure lots of people in the DC and Marvel community would think that as well. But I think given the fact that he was becoming like a beloved actor, he was becoming a superstar. He was a superstar, but becoming like a legend. He killed every role that he played. And given the fact that, remember, Black Panther came in 2016, but he was already seen in American. What's it?
No, not Gangster.
Captain America. They've been seeding Black Panther for a couple of years beforehand, and Marvel. That's why DC is like slugging behind. can see the future. They've got all of their stages,
it's all lined up,
it was all lined up. So it did mess up their kind of the way. So that's why even people say that this could have been part of the black the stage 5 part, but actually wrapping up stage 4. The way it sits in all the movies, where like Strange was like for 5 and all this different stuff like that. So I think your theory is interesting, but I think in this case you could say it's debunked. But again, it does show you, like you said, given what they had to go through, I think they made a really good story. I think they made, like, honestly, me personally, some people say, oh, I think it's because, people were really sad, people gave it a higher score. I felt like it was a good movie, great movie, pain, but I think it was a good movie. The acting was really, really good, the writing was good, the interactions were quite well. I felt like some of the fighting was great. It gave everything it needed to give for a movie without maybe... Typically, because obviously majority of the movies are strong male leads. Obviously, we've got a few females like Wonder Woman and that side and stuff like that. But I found that theory quite interesting. I would have agreed that, because I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist, but in this case, there's too many debunkings to kind of agree with your thing. But good try though.
Yeah. It's out there now.
It's out there in the ephora.
Also, one thing I felt this movie did very well was, I felt like it at least the first 20 minutes was a very spiritual depiction of how we experience or loss.
And loss,
the whole how we celebrated, it was a sad celebration, but it was still, and also no one else in the universe was there. Why was them Thor and them Captain America, where were they? None of them turned out. But like, I thought it was a good
That's a good point.
But are they allowed in Wakanda? Yes.
They were there to fight. They were there to fight.
They were in Wakanda to fight.
Infinity
That's
War. That's what the
true.
movie's called.
That is a good point. But then maybe because it was held in Wakanda, it was meant to be sacred to Wakandians. Because I don't think we've seen any of the superheroes in Wakanda. They're only together outside of...
Yeah, but they were fighting in Wakanda. Remember the Infinity War? Is that the one with
I guess that's
Thanos?
like last resort. We need you to fight and defend Wakanda. But it could be a little thing there. If Iron Man died, everybody will go support.
Yeah, everyone.
Iron Man died. When he died, that was sad.
Yeah. So it's that one where we do stuff for others, but people don't do stuff for.
That's a good point. Then
that could be another thing there.
That's a good.
Or it could just be budget to pay off.
Yeah, so you want to pay off to come through.
But still, they should have turned up. They don't need to get paid for it. They could have just said, Chadwick is gone.
To be fair, that could have been. I mean, if it was me, because this is a funeral on set and a funeral in real life. If you think about it, it's not where it was. A lot of those tears were fake tears. I mean, to me as an actor, you can just tap into the real pain. It's not your brother has died and start crying. Scene 1. No, it's like my brother's really died. So if I was Thor and all the other characters, I'll say, if you need us to be in a funeral scene to show, pay our respects, you don't need to pay me. Because this is different to movie stuff. This is me, what can I do to support my brother who died? I personally wouldn't need a check. I was like, let me
be there.
It's deeper than the movie, if that makes sense.
So, going back to the movie and loss and trauma, remember when Killmonger appeared to Suri in the spiritual realm? How did you feel about that? How was that? Because he was there to tell her, this is your chance to enact vengeance.
I like Killmonger's character, and I love that actor. Michael B. Jordan's a legend. I wish he kind of had a bit more of a role. I was thinking that maybe he last minute will come back and save the day. If Shuri was really in a lot of trouble, he comes back as the Black Panther 2, and I don't know, but it was interesting. I'll be honest, I don't really have an idea of what I feel about that scene.
I like the scene, and I wish she went dark. I really wish she just burnt down the place and just went dark.
Why?
Why?
Why? Because I just feel like she was really feeling that, and I don't know. I feel like I just want to see. A few weeks ago, I saw Injustice, which is where this is a parallel universe where Superman loses it. It just goes. He loses Lois Lane. The Joker tricks him, manipulates him into a way where he takes her up into the space, and she dies basically, and he just goes mad,
and he just destroys the earth type of thing.
But his madness is somewhat justified in a way that he wants to. So every crime, it's not reasoning with anyone with any crime. So if
Okay.
you did something bad, you deserve to be punished for it.
Okay.
And it could be death, it could be...
Wow.
Actually, most of the time it's death. So he was
Just
just, wow.
going crazy. So
Yeah.
not so much just burning things for no reason, but just taking out his pain and anger on bad guys. So they're still bad guys.
They're
but
still
instead
bad guys, but he's...
You know, if you steal a lollipop, you know, okay, you go to prison for a day, but you're just going to laser them in half type of thing. So it's a bit extreme.
So he becomes the villain, even though that's his reason is somewhat justified. He's trying to just protect the earth and get rid of anything bad. But he is, killing people. He's killing kids. People. He's killing, it was so wow.
Shoot.
And so I think that's why that's why I also like villain stories like the Joker or Harley Quinn. A bit about Harley Quinn. I've not seen Black Adam, but I'd like to see what that is
Black
about.
Adam was good. I liked
It was
it.
cool.
Is he a villain or?
No, he's not really. But
it's kind of...
Is he
it's one of those
anti-hero?
ones in the middle.
yeah, he's anti-hero.
Yeah, so I feel like I'm more drawn to the
Anti-heroes.
Yeah, anti-heroes.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Anti-heroes. I don't like goody two-shoe heroes.
And Superman is that. He's the epitome of like...
Yeah.
But I think I do like Superman though. I do.
He's my favorite.
Yeah, I
Superman's
do
like a hero
hero.
to me. I wouldn't say he's in the middle, but I guess in certain comics he's gone bad, he's gone rogue, he's gone dark, just like Spider-Man did. So I guess at that point, but normally the Superman that the original normal Superman is, I guess, a hero to me. So yeah.
So let's somewhat wrap this up with what are your favorite top 3 MCU movies?
Ooh.
Okay, I'll go first. I wanted to say 5 when I was thinking of this like yesterday, but I was like, it's too hard. I couldn't think of 5.
Wow.
So 3. My third one is Thor Ragnarok. I really enjoyed that movie.
Yeah.
And the second one is it's actually this Black Panther movie.
Okay.
Yeah, so Black Panther 1 and 2 with my second.
Yeah.
And then my first is Spider-Man No Way Home. Like me seeing Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland in one movie.
That was I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Like, and I was a bit angry too, because when I was in the cinema watching it, the kids there were like screaming that Andrew Garfield was on there.
Yeah.
But then when I saw Toby and I wanted to lose it, no one was losing. I was like, this is junk.
You guys don't know.
What's it called? The
Young millennials.
It's like, oh my
Gen
god.
Zs that don't know.
Exactly, the Gen Z man. They appreciate
history.
it.
They
Yes,
don't get
sir.
it, because that is the real Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He is.
That's our Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So that's my 3.
For me, I think probably have to go Black Panther number 1. Avengers Endgames.
Oh yeah, I kept saying Infinity War
that's-
Endgame was the
yeah,
what I was meant to say.
And that's Spider-Man No Way Home. Is it? That's the third one you just
That's
said?
that's
With all 3 of them
with all 3 of them.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
I love the concept of bringing all 3 together. Like, that's cool.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool.
So mine would be interesting. So mine, I think it would be one of the, I can't remember, but one of the X-Men movies. I love X-Men.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm an X-Men fan.
Okay, I love X-Men too.
I love X-Men.
And they're bringing them now because as the mutants, so that's like the link that they're
Like
bringing
Xavier,
X-Men.
like I love, I love that. I don't know which one, but I would say like X-Men franchise. I love X-Men franchise. Funny enough, Black Panther wouldn't be in any of my top 3, maybe 5. I know, right? Oh my god, I know, right? So it wouldn't be. Because I guess for me, because I can separate the historicity, the celebration from like the Marvel, I think it was a significant part. But when you think about the entire story, it's just one part of the entire Marvel story.
Yeah.
Avengers, I love superheroes coming together, and Justice League.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know you said Marvel, but
Yeah,
I prefer more
like,
I love both, but I do subscribe more to DC characters because I grew up watching more DC, Batman, all of the DC characters I watched predominantly. Like Marvel, to be fair, other than a few, it was the big Marvel franchise that got me into Marvel. Whereas growing up, it's majority of the DC characters we all grew up on when we think about it,
Yes.
But so I would say that just the Snyder Cut, the 3-hour one, Justice thing, I would say.
I was including DC, so I might have to go Dark Knight.
Yeah.
I might have to drop out Spider-Man for Dark Knight.
But I love
Dark
Batman.
Knight is just...
Yeah, I get it. Because I think for me, on that side is the X-Men movies. X-Men is everything for me. Like,
I love X-Men.
I remember the 90s cartoon.
Yes, X-Men, yes.
And they're bringing it back,
Really?
Yeah, they're bringing it back. Like the same voice actors for like, maybe not all of them. They're probably not all still around, but they're coming back.
Are you talking about cartoon or the real
cartoon? I think.
Okay, that's cool. Love that.
I can't pick my favorite X-Men movie, but I know the third one, Last Stand. I prefer the old generation X-Men to the new one.
Yeah, me
but
too,
I also like the last X-Men. No, not the Phoenix one. No, Future Days of Future Past. That's my favorite new generation X-Men. And Last Stand, and I saw X-Men 2 maybe 100 times when I was young. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Anything else you guys would like to add?
I guess I would say lastly that I think, just lastly, and I said it before, but I want to really accentuate that Shuri really shows the stages of grief, and I think that I think overall the story gave her permission. The movie gave her permission to grieve and show the realities of how it's hard to grieve as a black woman when you've got so much responsibility on your shoulders, and as a black person. And I think I'm hoping that what we can take away from the movie as well from that side is that just the realities of, you know, grieving and having somebody like M'Baku there, and, you know, you need support from people because it can be a very isolating experience. You know, all your loved ones taken from you, and then you're thrust into the world to be responsible, and you're thrust to save a world that essentially has attacked you because of the colour of your skin, because of the vibranium that you have, the resources that you have, you know.
Something that we can relate to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that's really, really powerful, and I think loss is not always death. You know, loss can be, you know, loss of relationships and loss of your childhood. You know, when you realise that you've gone through so much trauma and you've lost so.
She lost her childhood. She was lost her childhood.
You know, exactly. Yeah. So I think it's just important to give permission for that, and to go through a process, and not to circumvent your process, and just to be true to yourself. You know, authentic to yourself, and, you know, you might go from shock and anger, you know, shock and denial to anger to, you know, to back to shock and denial. Like, just go through the motions because it's part of the healing process, and it takes time. But I just would say, give yourself permission to grieve and to heal.
Yeah, I mean, just even though, yes, this is a, you know, sci-fi superhero Marvel movie, some of the principles you could take from that, such as keeping good people in your circle, really good people who are friends, blood family, who, if you go, because trauma can happen overnight. Instant. 1 minute you and your brother fighting crime, next minute your brother's passed away. And you need the Bakus around you and the other people around you who can, when you're going dark, who can reel you in if they need to. Or if they need to tell you, no, you need to go and seek revenge. Just having good people in your circle. When you have those fake friends around you, when you go through adversity, they're going to be the ones there that's pushing you in the wrong way. So you have to make sure that your circle's tight, because life could change very, very quickly.
Honestly.
And now, once your life changes and something goes wrong, you haven't got time now to sort out the right relationships around you. Now you're alone because those people just left you. So if things are going good now, make sure your circle's good.
Awesome, thank you so much. David, if you could be any superhero, because you're an actor, anyone from Black Panther, who would you be?
Ooh.
Or anyone from MCU, DCU?
It'll probably be...
And if you could also direct or produce any of the movies, what would you have done? Just time.
I'll probably produce a Batman movie, like one with the Joker again. So it's like Dark Knight 2 or something like that, 3, 4. And I'll be Black Panther, obviously alive, hopefully. Like
you'll be T'Challa.
T'Challa, Prince T'Challa. So.
I know, like, if we need flights to Wakanda, David can definitely get us all.
They're really cheap. Flights to Wakanda right now, about £400. So.
Oh yeah. Or EasyJet or Virgin. Ryanair. Okay.
Awesome. Everyone, his details are available. Will be made available. Thank you very much for listening, David. I really appreciate you guys coming. This conversation has been very good and very enjoyable. Hope you all enjoyed it. This is the Real Happy Hour podcast show, and hope you had a drink. And thank you for listening or watching.
Thank you.
Bye.